Well, welcome everybody. I'm happy to be at Life Oasis. I'm Frances Greenspan. I'm an animal communicator. I talk to those that are here and to those that have crossed over. I speak with them telepathically, so I hear what they have to say. I feel what they express in their emotions. I see pictures when they want to show me pictures, and it's fun. I enjoy it. Been doing it. I've been doing it about 10 years and actually spoke out loud that I did it about 5 years ago. I got brave. So the topic for today is animals taking on stuff for us. And our pets represent an aspect of ourselves. They take on some of the energies that we have, that may be illnesses, it may be allergies, there's just emotions. Sometimes they substitute for a love interest. And when a love interest comes into your life, the pet may find it's time to move on because you needed to have that love in your life. When we have our life changes, we'll find that those changes also mean the animals may not be with us any longer. But that's their exit time. Their lives don't last as long as our lives. They have a defined time frame, and we tend to live longer than they. So animals take on things for our emotions, our illnesses. If we find the animal has an allergy. Now, many of our foods, our processed foods, our carbohydrates, those are the things that we're eating that really aren't that good for us. And those are the things that are being put into our animals' foods as well. So it's very important to read the labels and read the labels that there isn't wheat, there isn't gluten, there isn't corn. Those are the things that we too should not be eating. But we're finding that the animals are having stomach issues and they're having allergies and they're having these things. And so just be cautious, because if you see it happening in your animals, pay attention to your own health and your family's health, because it's reflective. So your thyroid, you may have problems. Your stomach, you may have problems. Pay attention to what the animal's doing and how their system is reacting. I had a client who was an 85-year-old lady. The cat went blind, and she had cataract surgery. It was perfectly fine. So the animals do take on so that the symptoms for us are lessened. And I have a cat, my little one, who's not so little anymore, but my youngest, I should say. And I remember it being holiday time, and everyone around me was getting colds and respiratory things, and I was perfectly fine. But my cat started having the symptoms. So I took him to the vet and realized he's taking on all of this, so I don't have to have it. So I had to explain to him, I can handle it. You don't have to take it. I can take on a cold. I can take on if need be. So I ended up boosting my immune system by taking vitamins and eating better. So I didn't get it, but I also assured him he didn't have to take it on for me. So that hasn't happened again, thank goodness. Now, yesterday I had an interesting episode, never happened before. It was my birthday, which was fun. And I was driving, and I was stopped at the light. I heard a horn to my right, so I looked, and there was a lady with her window down, and the little dog was just sitting up looking at me. And I put my window down, and she said, he just wanted to say hi. I said, okay, hi. But a perfect stranger just saying this had never happened before. I thought, okay, he wanted to say happy birthday. All right, that worked. I had a client, the dog's name was Nala, and she had only been adopted for 6 weeks. And the dog would not be affectionate wouldn't go near. It just kind of stood in the corner. And I talked with the dog, and she didn't realize that this was her forever home. She thought that this was a foster home and this was just another stop along the way because she was a little older dog. So I explained to her that this was her forever home and the family loves her and she's not going anywhere. And the lady on the phone, because it was a phone reading, started crying. I said, what happened? She came to me. She's sitting next to me. She never did that before. So it's amazing what this work can do. I just love it. I just love doing that. I just want to see what my notes. Oh, Feisty is a Westie, and her mom called because she was throwing up. She wouldn't stop throwing up. So I talked to Feisty, and she was very nervous about Mom. I said, what are you nervous about? I don't know. Just Mom's going to have surgery. I keep hearing she's going to have surgery. And I asked the lady, and she said, yes, I'm going to have surgery, but it's outpatient. I'll be home. I'm not going anywhere. I'll have somebody here to help me. It's just a knee surgery. So I explained it to her, and my client says after that, the throwing up ceased. So they're emotional. They're nervous. They take on stuff for us. They hear what we are thinking telepathically. They understand if we're worried. They understand and they take on that worry. They take on the nervousness. I had one client, she asked, well, what is he telling you? And I said, he doesn't want you to call him stupid. She said, I don't tell it to him to his face.
Yeah.
It hurts. I have one client I spoke last month about is Lucky, and Mom wanted to know if he was ready to go to heaven. And he said no, because he was deaf and almost blind, 15 years old. He said, no, the food's too good. I didn't know Mom cooked special food for him. There was meat marked in the freezer specifically for Lucky. Anybody have questions? Any animals that you might want to know about?
Are all dogs telepathic?
Yes. Yes. Some speak more than others.
Yeah.
Some will tell me whole stories, and some will just like people. They're just like not talkative.
Are cats too?
Yes. I've talked with all animals, general pet animals. Yeah.
It's because they don't have the filters we have.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not grudge holders. They're open, they're kind, they're full of love. I had one dog buddy who his dad wanted to know why he didn't like the poodle that was walking by. Every time the poodle was walked past the front, he'd always bark, always bark. And I said, well, and Buddy was a pit bull. And I said, so Buddy, what did the dog say to you that pissed you off? And I'm asking him telepathically. And he said, he called me ugly. I said, okay, I understand. Yes.
Are some dogs more older souls than other dogs? Are there younger souls, older souls?
I don't really feel that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
I think some may be more inclined to be healers. Some, just like people, they have different personalities and gifts. But as far as the souls, that's not something I connect with.
Like the gifts you say, what are some of the gifts that dogs have?
Well, they take on stuff for us. And as a matter of fact, I have one client who was so amazing. Um, she'll ask a question, and the dog answers in barks. She counts. She'll ask, how many wheels does a school bus have? And she'll bark 4 times. And you can throw out questions, adding, subtracting, and she'll answer with the barks. So just like people, there's different talents and different things they like doing. You know, some are frisbee catchers and some are racers and some are, that kind of thing physically. But as far as emotionally, the healing aspects. Some, I know one dog that the owner is a massage therapist, and the dog always jumps on the table with the permission of the client, of course, and sits where the area is that needs to be worked on. So instinctively, they know.
Are they taking on the disease of that person, and are these animals clearing this, knowing how to clear also, or is that dog that's a healer going to have a shorter lifespan because of the stuff it's taking on?
Well, that's multiple questions. When it's the owner, generally when it belongs to the person, they do tend to take on this stuff, and yes, it can shorten their lives if the owner doesn't clear their own stuff. Okay, so when you clear your own stuff, you're also clearing for the animal.
Mm-hmm. But when the dog is in a practitioner's office
Mm-hmm.
and doing those healings,
They're not going to take it on for somebody else, but it's guiding them, the practitioner on where to go to help.
oh, I see. Are there animals that are just more mischievous than other animals? I mean, are they like humans?
Just like humans.
You know,
They have different personalities, absolutely. I had one dog who was a show dog, and when I tuned in, and I usually introduce myself, and I say, hi, how are you? He said, hey, chickadee, how are you? He was very full of himself.
So you experienced this gift about 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and then what was that experience like when you first?
Well, my first experience was when I was grooming. I decided I was in the corporate world and then was laid off. So I started taking grooming classes. It was 2002, I guess. And I found I was really attuned to the animals. And the animals just took to me, and the other students would say, Frances, come over here so I can do whatever it is they had to do the animal to calm it down. And I would just be there, and I didn't realize it was my energy that was calming them. And so then when I went into grooming at the back of a vet's office, my first experience was a Lhasa boy and a toy poodle girl. They were brother sister, and the toy poodle was one of those yippee yippies. And so when I was done with her, I said, okay, it's your brother's turn. And I was talking out loud. I'm the only one back there. I always talk to animals out loud. So, so I put her in the kennel. I came back to the boy, and I said, she gets all the attention, doesn't she? And in my head, I heard, yep, she's mom's and I'm dad's. So I finished him up. I put him in the kennel, called the parents. They came. I brought them forward to their parents. I had to go in the back for something, and I don't remember what it was. Came back forward, and the little girl was in mom's arms. The boy was on dad's lap, and dad said to me, we call him Mr. Personality. And it sounded just like the dog. So then I just started testing with my clients, talking with the animals, and then asking the owner, to confirm some of the things, or else the owner would just kind of be talking. I had one that had a cat, and his wife was very pregnant. And so he was thinking to get another cat to keep the cat company while they had the baby. And I said, oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I just kept getting, no, 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 no. And I said, he's fine just with you. You have a special bond. There's a special language with you two. And he thought about it, and he said, I brought him from Texas to California, and I was learning to speak Japanese at the time. So I was speaking Japanese to him. So that was his special language. He goes, okay, that makes perfect sense. So,
Do you have any animals that remember being different kinds of animals in past lives, or?
I don't go into the past lives with them.
Okay.
No.
Now, do you have to be and have them in front of you? Or
No.
No.
No. I speak telepathically, so I could be at home. And actually, I work with animals in Tokyo, in Japan. And at first, when I was doing a reading with the animal, it was via email where a question was written and I was responding, and I responded, and then after went, wait a minute, they speak Japanese. Why am I able to do this? And it's the concept that is translated. I say spirit translates it in that realm, and so the animals and I can communicate perfectly. It's I need a translator for the owner, to make sure. And then when I was in Japan last year, and I was doing readings, again, I had a translator for the client, but I was talking with the animals perfectly fine. So it's telepathic, and language is not a barrier, and location is not a barrier. So, and I speak to those that have crossed over, so obviously it's wherever that dimension is as well.
So do you have to bring a picture of the cat?
No, just I tune into the name. I may ask a few questions, how old, what type of animal they are, what your specific question may be, so that I can tune into that specifically. Because if someone asks, well, how are they? Well, what aspect? What is it do you want to know? I can go into a real general very easily. But if you want to know something specific, that's what I'd like to gear that direction.
When you tune in, are you hearing predominantly, or are you getting visuals, or?
I hear. Usually I hear. Once in a while I'll have a picture. If they want to show me, one dog was fearful of someone, and I said, well, do you know who it is, or can you show me? And he showed a picture, and I described to the client who this was, and he said, oh my, that's the groomer's husband.
Well, if people are wanting to contact you, how do they best contact you aside from right here, outside here?
My website, which is franceswgreenspan.com.
With an E, right?
With an E. And my phone is 949-412-9554.
Very good. Thank you so much, Frances.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Pleasure.
All righty.